Hello, and welcome to our presentation. This is for the Spartamax gun oil versus the industry standard CLP type gun oil product. It was an AR-15 300 round tested evaluation of the bio-based aerospace synthetic gun oil, and the test was conducted by qualified combat police training personnel. And is presented by Spartaclean Biotechnologies at spartamax.net. The reason for the test was a combat training facility desired to test and evaluate new firearms, weapons cleaner, and lubricant product which fulfilled the following product and performance specifications. Number 1, the updated gun oil product specification as required by the Department of Defense and NATO under the Military Specification 680643E from March 2011. The testing would be conducted by exchanging the original requirement for a .245 machine gun with 650 rounds per second with the standard police civilian issued AR-15 with a 300 round test, which was side by side under controlled test specifications, which we'll share later. The bio-based product, number 2, it had to have a bio-based product listing with the United States Department of Agriculture's Bio-Preferred Program as required by current government purchasing requirements directed by the Department of Defense, GSA, and NASA, also to fulfill bio-based environmentally safe products and for combat directives. Product selected was the Spartamax Gun Oil Firearms Cleaner to fulfill the DoD multitask roles for a clean, lube, and protect. Now, the other reason for the test was for the new gun oil to improve overall weapon performance, repeatability, component durability, and gunpowder management. In other words, controlled carbon and nitrites formation upon the metal surfaces. This would make cleaning easier along with decreasing the weapon cleaning time. The other goals for the test was to discover through controlled, repeatable testing how Spartamax gun oil actually provides powder management where others products could not. You see, with a proprietary formulation of the bio-based solvents and aerospace oils, it would both manage and dissipate the carbon and nitrites and contaminants on barrel bore and component surfaces, allowing the fire chamber and trigger mechanisms to operate efficiently. Now, the test specifications included a climate control range with temperature and humidity around 70 degrees. The exact same weapon would be used for both tests 1 and 2. The exact same Remington 223 ammunition was used. And for different perspectives, an armorer and infantry specialist was used. Now, this expertise included NRA instruction, certified military armorer and gunsmith with specialization in maintenance and testing in over 300 varieties of infantry and combat weapon systems, along with 5 years of United States Marine Corps infantry experience. Test 1 was with standard preparations that were used on the gun. Now, these same types of preparations are used by police weapons such as Glock, Springfield, Smith & Wessons, whatever, but this happens to be on the AR-15. The weapon was cleaned with a standard gun oil solvent and sonic cleansing, with the scrub cleaning of all surfaces in the barrel bore. Included the current CLP gun oil used in the facility, which they happened to select was a Mobil 1 5W20. The weapon preparation gun oil placed with a needle dripper exactly upon the specific slide areas. 300 rounds of testing was completed. The weapon was then taken apart. As you can see on the right, you have what's called the rotate bolt and compression ring area. It was very, very dirty and dusty. It required a tremendous amount of cleansing with a brass brush. Also, you had the drop fire print. After it was wiped, it required a tremendous amount of scrubbing upon the base to get it clean. Also, in the fire chamber area had to be wiped clean with a rag and a brush used upon the barrel bore to clean the barrel bore area. For the preparation of test 2, the difference was they were going to use the same gun, except in having specific little areas done with the oil, the entire components were to be wetted down. Now you can see here is the rotate bolt assembly, the charging handle, the entire firing mechanism, rotate bolt again, the drop fire pin, and then the drop fire pin was then put into the bolt carrier group. 300 rounds were then taken place. And then you would notice that was there very little carbon inside of the firing chamber area. Furthermore, you can see on the right where the oil, because it was good to, let's say, 300 to 400 degrees, still remained wet, providing a slide capability protection, therefore a grease not required. Here you see the rotate bolt and the drop firing pin before they were clean. Very, very clean. The drop fire pin only required a slight amount of wiping off of the oils, and including the base. The rotate bolt assembly, and including the compression rings, only required a little bit of wiping with the cloth and just a slight amount of the brush in certain areas where it had dry air come upon it. The charging handle and the carrier bolt group and the carrier bolt key, all just with a simple rag. Here is the carrier bolt key on the top, along with the carrier bolt group bolt, and just wiped with a simple cloth. No brass brush was required. In the firing chamber, again, here's the clean cloth. It was just used to wipe everything clean, including the firing mechanisms and the trigger mechanisms. To clean the barrel bore, in this instance, all that you simply used was patches that were treated with the Spartamax gun oil. Normally we would suggest that you would use the swabs for a better contact surface area. So in general, between the tests, the goals and objectives were done. You were able to clean this weapon in less than 5 minutes, not 30 with multiple products. You could use one product, not 3 or 4. Now here's the results of the performance. You will see in the test 1, about after round 60 to 250, it was very, very hot in the gas tube area and the barrel bore. You could just see it steaming through the handle. On test 2, with the Spartamax gun oil, it was not hot. It was a lot more manageable through the gas port and barrel area. Furthermore, you would have more fire coming out of the arrestor and more contamination of the cloud coming out of the barrel. Further seen here, you would see the cloud coming forth, and it was carbons and nitrites being blown out, estimated 30 to 40% more. Again, with the test 1, there was a tremendous amount of scrubbing that was required to clean the components. In test 2, it was a simple rag or simple patches or claws to clean the weapon. Very simple. Now, you see the goal and performance of the product was as follows. You see what you want is to have the ability for the contaminants to blow out of the muzzle and clean air to come back and clean efficiency engineering inside of the firebolt area. That's what you want. Now what normally happens with a standard CLP is the contaminants bury into the bore area, then the carbon and contaminants get into the gas tube, and then they get into the firing bolt area. Furthermore explained, you can see all the areas that get mucked up. I mean, from the top to the bottom, you've got the key area, you've got the rotate bolt, the compression rings, the firing pin, and the lugs. These have to be kept clean, but with the CLP, the oil comes, the oil gets varnishy, grabs the contaminants, holds it on, and becomes a mess. What we would like to have is a product with powder management with over 4 times the solvent power of acetone. You see, as soon as the carbon powder or contaminant hits or comes in contact with the wet SGO oils, Carbon immediately dissipates and is held in suspension within the high-temp biosolvent and aerospace oils until lighter wiped away, preventing carbon powder from becoming a varnish or solid hard particle upon the component surfaces, such as the drop fire pin, rotate bolt, compression springs, and the assembly inside and out the trigger and slide areas. See, what the proprietary chemistry does is during the performance of the weapon with heat and friction, a special dry plate formula becomes embedded within metal pores, no moly, graphite, or Teflon. This greatly helps reduce and prevent the carbon and nitrates from forming upon the metal surfaces within the barrel bore and rifling area, including the gas port, gas tube, causing increased amounts of carbon and contaminants to blow out the muzzle with a bullet. You see, less carbon in the barrel bore and rifling helps reduce and prevent copper and lead from surface attachment and fouling. Also, less cleaning after weapons use. You see, the lower resistance allows the projectile or the bullet to increase velocity up to 5%, which improves targeting along with smoother operation and the carrier bolt assembly. As you can see here, when the dry plate embeds into the bore, the contaminants will blow out the muzzle. So in general, what we want to have is improved fire and bullet efficiency as it pushes out more of the carbon and contaminants out the barrel in the muzzle area. We want less carbon on the metal surfaces, which also provides a lower barrel bore operational temperatures. You see, when you have more carbon and contaminants blowing out the muzzle, it's less carbon and contaminants returning back through the gas tube and improves with cleaner air for overall performance of the carrier bolt and weapon performance. So in general, as shared in test round and 2, it's proven that this product can actually fulfill the Department of Defense's requirements for a multitask role of a clean lube and protect in everything stated on the label. Spartamax gun oil is made and grown right here in the USA for the pride of our fighting men and women. And this concludes our presentation for the AR-15 300 round test and evaluation. We ask you that you look at the videos closely, which are available. So we want to thank you for the time that we spent together. And again, this was the AR-15 300 round test and evaluation for the Spartamax gun oil versus the industry standard CLP type gun oil. Should you require to talk to us or have any more information, please contact us at spartamax.net or at 815-637-1574. Thank you for your time and good day.